Here's just one example of some of the Corvettes you will see in this video. This is a 1954 Corvette convertible that was buried in a grocery store basement for 27 years. This is the National Corvette Museum located in Bowling Green, Kentucky. And I imagine most of you have probably heard of this place, but maybe a few of you have never been there. Welcome, boys and girls, to Midwest Car Life. My brother and we went on the Hot Rod Power Tour 2024, and we thought we would check out the Corvette Museum. My name is Jason, and I will be your tour guide for this little adventure. So originally I wanted to make this video with packing all the cool and rare Corvettes at the beginning, but then I thought if this is going to be a little tour, we should probably do it in order, and that's why we are starting in the lobby. There are these informational cards, and I will give you a summary of what each one of them says, or you could pause the video and read it yourself. This one is just one of the first 300 Corvettes ever made. Here's that Corvette I mentioned earlier. It's a 1954, and it was purchased brand new by Richard Sampson. Mr. Sampson's wife apparently did not like the car, so he thought it would be a good idea if he went ahead and buried it in his grocery store basement, where it stayed until 1986. His daughter ended up owning it for 10 years after that, before it ended up here in the National Corvette Museum. The St. Louis Corvette Assembly Plant ran from 1954 to 1981, where they pumped out 700,000 Corvettes. There were only 300 Corvettes built in 1953. The first one rolled off the assembly line on June 30th and was built in Flint, Michigan. This Corvette here won the 1962 Sebring 12-hour GT Class Championship and the 1962 Daytona 3-hour Championship, making it the first Corvette to win back-to-back international endurance races and the most successful C1 Corvette performance racer of all time. In spite of the manufacturer's ban on racing activity, in 1963 the RPO Z06 package enabled customers to essentially get a factory-built Corvette race car. This Corvette won the IMSA GT Series back in 1975. Referred to as the world's fastest Corvette, this highly modified 1984 has competed and held records in several Bonneville Salt Flats trial classes, reaching over 270 miles per hour. Back on March 2nd, 1990, this Corvette broke the 24-hour world speed endurance record that had been held for 70 years. They averaged 175.885 miles per hour for 24 hours straight. The Monterey is a highly modified 1969 Corvette powered by a ZL1 427 big block. Here we have a Sebring Orange 2019 C7 ZR1 making 755 horsepower. Full-scale clay model of a Z06. This room we were not allowed into. It was under construction, but it has 3 of the Corvettes that fell into the sinkhole. A high school student back in 1962 bought this C1 Corvette brand new after saving up all his money. He had the nickname the Weatherman because his friends would tease him about how closely he watched the weather, as he would quickly take his Corvette home when there was a chance of rain. He donated this one to the museum to ensure it would be well maintained and protected. Unfortunately, this was one of the 8 Corvettes that had fallen victim to the sinkhole back in February 12, 2014. This 1953 Corvette is chassis number 3. It was made into an educational cutaway back in 2012. (1957) Corvette 283 cubic inch small block. Has the dual 4 carburetor setup, making 220 horsepower. A total of 199 1963 Corvettes came with the Z06 race-ready equipment, which was available only in 1963. The Z06 name would not return until 2001, when it became its own model. (1969) Corvette L88. The 427 big block produced 430 horsepower, while some claim the output range is more around 540 to 580. In 1969, its 3rd and final year of production, GM only built 116 L88s. As most of you know, the 1983 Corvette never made it into production. There were actually 43 of them made. This is the only one left in existence. (1989) Corvette ZR1 prototype. Under the hood is a 375 horsepower LT5, which would get this Corvette up to 175 miles per hour. 2001 Corvette Z06, powered by a 385 horsepower LS6. It could accelerate from 0 to 60 in 4.3 seconds.